To me, Global Reach Out is inspiring.
It's connecting with God, reaching out to the world, and impacting life.
The stories that are shared is so personal and it deeply impacted me.
Global Reach Out to me is reach out to the truth.
Connecting hearts, connecting lives. You're listening to Global Reach Out.
Session 10. Number 4. Nehemiah was a God-fearing leader. What prevented him from doing what other governors did was the fear of God. But because I fear God, I did not act that way. 5:15. Every leader needs to have this biblical doctrine or biblical value to characterize his or her leadership. Fear of humans will bring a snare. Proverbs 29:25. What does it mean to fear God? Negatively speaking, they will not abuse their positions, misuse or abuse powers, or do things with hidden agendas for self-aggrandizement. Nor will they do anything that hurts, harms, exploits, mistreats others, adopts a superior-than-thou attitude. Positively, God-fearing leaders seek to do the right things and things rightly. They will seek to be faithful to their tasks, to honor and obey God's words, and live under the authority of Scripture with the aim of glorifying Him. They practice and live out kingdom values and have their priorities straightened out. They will speak out for underdogs and exercise courageous leadership in times of crisis. Fearing God means to be no respecter of people. That is why Nehemiah had the courage to confront the nobles and magistrates for holding their fellow Jews as pledges. I rebuked them severely. 5:7. What are some of the implications of fearing God? The fear or reverence of God is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 1:7, 9, 10, and Psalm 111, verse 10. Wisdom is supreme, therefore get wisdom. Though it costs all you have, get understanding. Proverbs 4:7. When we fear God, we need not fear anything else. Isaiah 8:12, Jeremiah 1:8, 1:18-19, Ezekiel 2:6. The remarkable thing about fearing God is that when you fear God, you fear nothing else. Whereas, if you do not fear God, you fear everything else. Oswald Chambers. When we lead without fear or favor, the blessed reward is blessing. 2 Samuel 23, 3-4. Nehemiah, fearing leadership, gets divine approval and is shepherds after God's own heart. The fear of the Lord leads to life, bringing security and protection from harm. Psalm 19:23. God-fearing leadership is liberating because it is not institution, churches, councils, governments, or individuals that have the final say, but God always has the finest word or last word. Number 5, Nehemiah was a trustworthy leader. Nehemiah became an official wine taster because he was trusted by the king. He built up that trust, which he earned it for many years. In ancient Near East, a wine taster was also a king's confidante. Being trustworthy, he also won the king's favor, who granted him an extended leave of absence and provided timber to build his house, an armed entourage of soldiers, and supplies to build the city walls. He did not abandon ship when faced with opposition and fears and problems. Instead, he persevered to end with the people. By so doing, he honored his words, kept faith with the people, and proved himself a trustworthy leader. Number 6, Nehemiah was a good planner. He was a good and careful planner. 2 verse 11 to 16. He used his organizational and administrative skills toward achieving his objective. As a good organizer, before formulating a detailed plan for the rebuilding project, he did his homework by surveying the situation and making an evaluation. His planning skills enable him to give each party clearly defined roles and responsibilities. He did not anticipate all the problems that would arise, but met them head-on when they surfaced. In Nehemiah 2:17-20, we see him setting a goal and then motivating those in Jerusalem to work together to achieve it. As a good planner and organizer, Nehemiah 1. Knew how long the project would last. 2:6. B. Knew how to get there. 3:7. C. Knew what would be the need to get the job done. 2:8. And D. Knew that God's hand was upon him. As the saying goes, those who fail to plan to fail. The terrorist attack was constant and could demoralize the people, so he planned the following actions. 4:10-15. He stationed guards at obvious weak points. He reminded workers to keep weapons close at hand and fight for God, their families, and the nation if attack come. He established duty rotation so that some stood guard while others worked. He even set up communication system where the man who sounded the trumpet stayed with Nehemiah, though there was no evidence it was ever used. But to know that they were to sound a warning is reassuring. He jotted down what's happening in his life and the community by keeping detailed records in a registry. He later used them as his database for his memoirs and in the rebuilding project narrative. The fact that he could ask the king for resources from his forest in province near Jerusalem meant he knew about the various provinces and governors in Artaxerxes' empire. Number 7, Nehemiah was a courageous leader. Courage is a willingness to do the right things and things rightly. He confronted the noblemen and magistrates who were doing wrong. Nehemiah 5:7. When encouraged to flee for his life by seeking refuge behind closed door to escape a death threat, he replied, "Should a man like me run away? Can a man like me go into the sanctuary to save his life? I will not go." 6:11. Eliashib was a high priest in the time of Nehemiah. 12:10-22. 3:1-20-21, 13:28, and perhaps in Ezra 10:6. Together with the other priests, he helped in rebuilding of the eastern city wall. 3:1. Later, Eliashib betrayed Nehemiah with a letter, allied with Tobiah the Ammonite. 13:4. And allowed the enemy of Nehemiah the use of a great chamber in a temple. 13:5. One of his grandsons, a son of Joel-Ida, married a daughter of Sanballat the Horonite, and was expelled from the community by Nehemiah. 13:28. As a courageous leader, he also acted as a change agent. A change agent is a catalyst who initiates movement and momentum. Nehemiah implemented some major changes when he encountered external opposition and internal problems. He made changes progressively. Number 8, Nehemiah was a leader of integrity. He demonstrated integrity in his financial dealings. With transparency, he asked the king for timber for his own house instead of using the names of other people to get what he wanted. On another occasion, a situation arose in the rebuilding project. The common folks were having financial difficulties because they could not make ends meet. They had to borrow loans from the rich who charged high interest rates. When Nehemiah came to know of it, he became angry with the rich Jews for exploiting the poorer Jews. He rebuked them and remedied the situation. Instead of exploiting the situation like some previous governors, Sanballat and his cronies in chapter 4, and the Jewish nobles and rulers in chapter 5, 6 to 13, and the governors of Jerusalem before Nehemiah in chapter 5, verse 15, all were motivated by self-interest. He himself modeled generosity with his resources. He also demonstrated integrity in his personal dealing with people who were involved in the rebuilding project as well as his enemies. As a result, the people respected him and listened to him. Integrity or credibility is an important key to influence. A leader has no right to ask others to do what he or she is unwilling to do. Example, menial tasks like arranging chairs, buy fruit, clean toilet, and others. Here's a poem by John Holland, Men of Integrity. Give us men. The time demands strong minds, great hearts, true faith, and willing hands. Men from whom the lust of office does not kill. Men whom the spoils of office cannot buy. Men who possess opinions and a will. Men who have honor. Men who will not lie. Men who cannot stand before a demagogue and damn his treacherous flatteries without winking. Tall men, sound-crowned men who live above the fog in public duty and public thinking. Nehemiah was a good motivator. Number 9. We see this in 2:17-18. Compared it with 1:44. He motivated a whole range of people, religious leaders, political leaders, merchants, and common people. He understood the value of motivation and affirmation to influence them. He used all three types of authority: positional authority, appointed by the king; spiritual authority, the gracious hand of God was upon me; and people authority. Let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and rid ourselves of this disgrace in motivating the people, as pointed out by one commentator. In motivating the people to work, he used prayer, persuasion, and partnership. In Nehemiah 3:28, we are informed that each priest repaired the wall in front of his own house beside other sectors. This motivated them to build quickly and properly. Not only would they not waste time traveling to elsewhere to build the walls, they could defend their homes if attacked, as well as make rebuilding a family effort. This would lead to high-quality work and personal satisfaction. Sam Walton said, "If people believe in themselves, it is amazing what they accomplish." How did Nehemiah motivate the people? He took initiative and met them where they were in the rubble. 2:11. He patiently did his homework on the need. 2:12-15. He remained silent until he was prepared. 2:16. He identified the need they all faced and embraced. 2:17a. He provided a relevant solution to meet the need. 2:17b. His vision included divine support and government support. 2:18. He took the heat of opposition and responded on behalf of the people. 2:19-20. He offered people God's perspective on the situation. 4:13 and 14. He developed a plan for facing adversity, stay united and making progress. 4:16 to 23. He took a stand for justice even when it didn't directly benefit him. He incarnated a spirit of service. His motivation was other-centered.
The program is proudly presented by Global Reach Out. We welcome you to share our live enriching webcasts with family and friends through our website, global-reachout.org. Let's reach out to bless more lives together.